Greetings and welcome back one and all to Reassembly, where in the last episode I promised that we would be visiting a tournament amongst friends, amongst dapplings, and I am ever one to keep my word. Now let's download our friends list, but first we're going to have to decide on what kind of tournament this is going to be. We could either make it a tournament of capital ships, where I would be aiming for the same sort of point value. There's no way of me guaranteeing that my ships won't be fighting my ships and my friends' ships won't be fighting their ships if we put them all into one big fight. But that is basically what we're going to do. However, I think we're going to make this a fighter tournament. So I'm going to bring across all of my fighters, everything sub 200, and we're going to go and see if we can find some sub 200 ships amongst my friends. Now, Gravelord, since you enjoy destroying everything I own... really? You've only got one ship sub 200? Problem is, that is actually significant. That's like twice the value of any of these ships. So, you know what? This will be a sub 200 tournament. So, you'll only have one ship in this. You still might do quite well, Gravelord. You do seem to do quite well in these kinds of games. Jameson... That's close enough. Is it close enough? Yes. I'll allow it. Ravian. Okay, you've got one as well. Child. Rust Pixie. You've got a few. Fantastic. Let's get a couple of Rust Pixie's ships in this. The Scorpion, the Wasp, the Hornet, the Miner, and the Locust. The Miner, I fancy, is probably not going to do too well given its name. Tigris. You have no sub 200s. Ooh, Slow Drone is probably going to dominate, but okay, we'll allow you to have one in there. Mr. Kitten, you've got a couple, but they are sub 100 as well. We'll take, well, maybe it'll do okay, and we'll take the Interceptor as well to balance that out. And another two, I think. Can we get more? We've got Waffenhorst. Do you have any sub 200? Yes, you have one. What about you, Christopher? Do you have? Oh, you've actually got two. We're going to take the Kitten MSF and the Talon Heavy. Yeah, we will actually take those. So one more than I was expecting. We're going to be doing a bracket, and we are going to be starting now. Let's see how this is all set up. It's actually quite a lot of buys here. Okay. So Rust Pixie versus the Kitten MSF. I didn't actually see how much point value the Locust and the Kitten had comparatively. I will see if that is shown in the lineup after this fight is over, but it looks like the Locust is winning here. But that hasn't put the Kitten out of it yet. The Kitten's very maneuverable. As long as you're going to avoid some of this damage, though it's not, it's getting hit a lot now. I think the Kitten might be on its way out. It doesn't have any weapon systems respawned yet, but it's working on it, and if it can avoid taking unnecessary damage, no, I don't think it can. The Locust is moving in for the kill. You can see it charging in there. But the Kitten is remarkably fast. Wow, it's dazzling the Locust. It's trying to keep the Locust off its trail. It's succeeding, honestly. My lord, it's launching missiles now. So the Locust's main weapons can't actually get involved in this fight, but the Kitten is just launching missiles all over the place. Kind of impotently, because they can't really hit. Oh, that one did, though. There we are. The missiles are getting a little bit closer now. The Locust is still barreling down, but the Locust will win in points in just 20 seconds. So the Kitten really needs to start firing many more weapons or stabilize its crazy spin. I'm not even sure if it has any components regenerating at this point, because it's been quite some time. I wouldn't be... Oh no, it is trying to pull in some components from somewhere, so it is trying to regenerate stealth. No, it lost. Well, that was an interesting fight, if nothing else. Right, what's going to happen here? Are you going to be able to wrap this up again, Locust? Or is the Kitten going to go for a surprise victory here? I fancy the Locust is the better one in this engagement from its shape, but the Kitten is actually a reasonable... considering how little armor it's got, it is actually fantastically agile. It's getting hits in. It's currently point leader. If you can keep this up, Kitten. You've lost your missile launcher at the moment, but it's being regenerated. There we go. Oh, no, you've slowed down. That was probably a mistake. The Locust is catching up in points now. Ooh, here we are. I think this may be another win for the Locust, unless the Kitten can get a couple of good shots there. I mean, it is generally more accurate, it seems, but... oh, there we are. I was about to say it hasn't got its missile system unlocked, but it has actually regrown it. I think it's just lost it again, which is a shame. But it's keeping you ahead in points, and that's all you need. Oh, no, there we are. Spoke too soon. With 30 seconds left, the Locust has taken... oh, took the lead. Now it's... oh, it's taking it back again, my lord. It's back and forth. It's a very close race, this one. But I fancy the Locust is now actually starting to pull away, and the Kitten has lost its stability. It is probably not going to recover, and this is just going to be a replay of the previous battle where the Locust just tries to chase the Kitten down but doesn't quite have the speed to close the distance while the Kitten is doing its crazy chaos dance. Though the Kitten just took point lead with a fantastically aimed missile shot. With like less than 5 seconds, it managed to secure a victory. Well done, NISF Kitten MSF. Very well done. Everything to play for this battle then. Some early good hits from the missiles there from the Kitten, but the Locust is taking an early lead. Is it going to be able to maintain this time? I mean, it's got an awful lot of firepower. It's just it lacks the ability to close the distance once the Kitten loses its stability and just starts wigging out like that, pretty much. At this point, the Kitten is going to be able to maintain its distance. But the Locust is very far in the lead. So, this isn't actually the right kind of tactic for the Kitten to employ. Unless it can restore its missile launcher and go for a snipe victory again, I'm not sure. But the Locust isn't... oh, no, there we are. It's got its missiles launching again. The Locust needs to get in there and take that missile launcher out, or it's going to suffer another potential loss. No. Yes. Oh, the missile launcher is down again. The Locust just really cannot do enough damage in those moments where the Kitten slows down to take the Kitten out of the fight. All it seems to be able to do is disconnect one side, one wing of the Kitten's thrusters. But all that really seems to do is make the Kitten go into a crazy spin. Oh, wow. The Kitten did some enormous damage. And the Locust is doing its own spin for now. But the Kitten could win this if it can get a couple of those missiles in. It's going to be close. No, I don't think it's going to have enough time. That is a shame. But well done to the Locust, the first victor in this tournament. So the Locust has now got several buys. That is a little bit unfair. But we shall see how the Mr. Miyagi does against the Hornet. So it's one of mine against Russ Pixies. I think the Mr. Miyagi may come out on top. Yes, the Mr. Miyagi with a convincing victory there. And again, the Hornet against the Mr. Miyagi. How is the Mr. Miyagi going to do? It's that initial alpha burst of damage there that just wins the fights for the Mr. Miyagi. And wins them convincingly as well. That incredible accuracy. Now we're looking at Mystic Ken Interceptor 2 versus the Lucky Leol. Good luck, Lucky Leol. You shouldn't need it with a name like Lucky Leol, but then sometimes people name things lucky when they aren't. As a sort of reverse psychology against the universe. Is that the case with the Lucky Leol? You've already lost one of your main weapons. Oh, that was a bit of a nasty impact there. And the Interceptor is dominating here, I feel. It has several times the Lucky Leol's points. And the Lucky Leol has lost a lot of its armor, though it's regenerating it quickly. Those thrusters are serving you well in avoiding incoming damage, but you're just taking a little bit too much to restore your weapon systems. You're starting to grow them. You were just starting to regenerate them when the Interceptor moved in for the kill there. And let's see how it goes this time. Probably going to go the same way, I fancy. The Interceptor looks like it's got a significant point advantage over the Lucky Leol. Though that said, none of these ships are hugely out of other ships' leagues, but some of them are around maybe twice as heavy in terms of points. But as we've seen, that can sometimes not matter as much as you might think, with the Hammer's surprise victory in the tournament of my own ships. That has still surprised me, even to this day. I don't know how the Hammer managed to do it. Well, I do, but I was still surprised when it did. Now, Lucky Leol is going into a spin. I don't think it's going to be effective at this point because it can't rain its shots down. Many of its weapons are forward-facing only, so when spinning like this, it's just not going to be able to bring its firepower to bear. Whereas the Mr. Ken Interceptor 2 is just going to keep doing strafing runs Yeah, look at the amount of firepower it's bringing to bear against the Lucky Leon. I think this is probably game over for the Lucky Leon, though you're giving it a good little effort there. But the Interceptor 2 is so far ahead now, unless you manage to burrow through and take out its cockpit. No. There we are. Interceptor 2 wins and moves forward. Who are you going to see now? Oh, the Attilla versus the Last Angel. Okay. So high alpha damage versus super speed. We'll see how this goes. You've already done some damage to its thrusters. The Last Angel has lost maneuverability. Even more damage to its thrusters. You're just going to continue to pick it off at range, aren't you, Attilla? You've taken off the whole front of the craft, and this is probably it now. You just need a little bit more time to charge up that laser for a precision strike. And it's regrowing its armor, and you're failing to go for the cockpit. I'm a little bit surprised, because usually these burst lasers manage to do that. Have you taken any damage? Has the Attilla managed to damage some of your positioning thrusters? It's possible. The Attila's moving in for a kill. The Attilla is not letting go, but it's lost the front of its ship, but its weapon systems are still online. It's lost a little bit of maneuverability, but it's actually given it as good as it gets. Well done, Attilla. Well done, Last Angel. You're both really impressing me here. The Attilla is holding on. I would say the Attilla had the advantage, but the Last Angel really, really put in a good bit of effort right towards the end. And once again, that Alpha Strike does so much damage to the maneuvering thrusters on the Last Angel. That weapon is amazing for fighters. But that said, the Last Angel is doing its best, and its weapons are far enough back that the Attilla can't easily take them out. It has to go through quite a lot of armor first, but it's done a huge chunk of damage there. I fancy the Last Angel is going to really struggle to recover from that. Still possible. It's dodging around. No, never mind. The Attilla wins and moves forward. So it could be down to the Mr. Miyagi and the Attilla in the end. Right, we have got the Rust Pixie Scorpion versus the Rust Pixie Miner. Let's see which of you two wins. The Miner has a lot more DACA. The Scorpion seems to be much more focused on frontal DACA and more speed as well. But I'm not sure it's going to recover from this. No, the Rust Pixie moved in for the kill. Well done, Rust Pixie. And again, let's see how this one goes. No, the Scorpion just turned away. It would have been better said to just barrel down and get a couple of good shots in. No, the Miner is probably going to win this fight as well. Oh, that said, that was a very good hit there. Didn't actually take out any of the components, but you could if you can maintain that kind of firepower for a little bit. You've definitely taken the point lead. Well done. But it's whether you can keep that kind of those sorts of attack runs up or not. Because the Miner is being much more aggressive and is forcing you to veer off. If the Miner can get a good strafing run going, if you can get a couple of shots, oh no, that is exactly what the Miner should not be doing. The Rust Pixie Scorpion is just hoovering up points right now, whereas the Miner is not really doing much of anything. There we go, that's what you needed. You may have done a little bit of damage. You need to... There, I think you've hit some of the maneuvering jets. Maybe not, actually. It doesn't look like you have. Whereas you're taking a huge amount of damage in barreling down on it. I think this is going to come down to points rather than kills, which is a shame. But the Scorpion is definitely the point leader here. I just don't think either of these ships would realistically be able to take the other one out, even if you had infinite amounts of time. There we go. Unless, of course, you get a lucky engagement. But it does seem to come down, in a lot of these battles, it comes down to the first tangle, the first engagement. Once they kind of get their rhythm going, there. If the Rust Pixie had been able to land a couple of those shots, it probably would have dominated for the rest of the battle. But because it missed, I'm not sure it's going to recover. I think this is going to go down to points again. Let's see how the Scorpion does. If it can get a couple of good shots and focus on one side rather than spreading its damage, then it would probably just cleave off an entire half of the Miner, and at that point the Miner would just lack the maneuverability to avoid any more of the damage, and the Scorpion could clean up. But, I mean, the Scorpion is certainly making use of its agility and its extreme range weapon there. But I'm just not sure it's enough. No, it's lost its weapon. The miner just... It hasn't taken a point lead, but without the ability to actually damage it, I think the Scorpion's going to go down here. The miner is now in the lead. Let's see how it can do. Can you continue to take that weapon out? No. It's regenerating. You've probably only got a few more seconds before it's operational again. A little bit of damage here and there, but the weapon is back up. Though you now have a comfortable point lead. I'm not sure that if the Scorpion would be able to recover. No, I think that's it. The miner is going to win this one, I fancy. That one weapon is a big gamble. It's a huge weapon, and if you can keep it, it's going to give you a massive advantage in the tournament. But if that weapon goes down, you're probably never going to be able to regenerate it again in time to recover the points or kill the opponent even. There we are. The miner moves forward. Let's see who's the next pick. It is going to be the Tigris Shadow Drone versus the Rust Pixie Wasp. Now, I fancy the Shadow Drone is a much larger vessel here. I wouldn't like to say that that means it's going to win, but it has a lot of point defense and a decent amount of DACA in close range, and it's got missiles. I don't think the Wasp is going to come out of this one. I think it's just a matter of time. There we are. And now it seems to have lost its point defense as well, and one half of its maneuvering thrusters. Yeah, Shadow Drone won that handily. It's a nice armored design, actually, as well. It's got one missile launcher at the very front. It's got a... I can't tell if that is perhaps a container for resources and a power plant. And then quite a lot of armored maneuvering thrusters, which is quite nice to see. I need to do that a little bit more. A lot of my maneuvering thrusters are on the outside, where they can easily be shot off, whereas Tigris's design would have a bit of longevity, even under heavy firepower. Okay, well done there, Tigris. Now we see the Metal Ham versus the unnamed spaceship from Gravelord Nico. Let's see how this goes. I fancy that was probably one of the best pairings Gravelord could get, because I don't think the Ham is going to be especially capable against a small ship like this. Though that said, the Ham is actually doing pretty good. Metal Ham is moving in for the kill, and if he can get a couple of those bursts off at the right time, might win. But Gravelord is already regenerating the lost weapon. Ham is losing in points right now. Gravelord can direct a lot of firepower to a single point, whereas the Metal Ham tends to spread that out quite a lot. So a lot of its energy is being lost. And I fancy it's lost some of its maneuvering thrusters as well. Yes, I think Gravelord the Dancing Nico will be moving forward here. But we will, you know, there's plenty of time for the Metal Ham to surprise us. If you can get in there and take out its maneuvering thruster, then you would probably be able to mop up, because I don't think he has enough firepower to burrow through your armor before you would wear him down, even with your scattered shots. No, there we are. I think Gravelord's going to have this one. He's got an awful lot of points. I don't think the Metal Ham had a particularly good opponent, but then, honestly, I'm not sure any one-on-one conflict would go in Metal Ham's favor. Though, this is your opportunity to win. Oh my lord, Metal Ham, you stole that victory. Gravelord will be seething when he sees this. There's every possibility that won't happen a second time, but wow, that was quite the achievement there, Metal Hammer. Metal Ham. I'm assuming it should be Metal Hammer, but I've got Metal Ham written down. Either that was a typo on my part, or for some reason they wanted it to be Metal Ham. You know, I've got nothing against metal meat. Get in there. Oh, you've wiped out its weapons once again. It's still got its maneuvering thrusters, so you need to get in there quickly. You don't get a lot of points when you do this, but you do actually manage to do quite a lot of damage every now and then. A couple of lucky shots and you can pull it back. You need to get in there fast, though, and you need to stop just overshooting like this. You need to get in close and then hold position and just hammer it with sustained firepower. There we go. You're actually doing a decent amount of damage, but he's on the run. You're going to have to get in there quick and stop overshooting. That's right. Oh, Metal Hammer! Metal Ham wins! Wow, that was honestly surprising to me. And Gravelord is out. Now it's down to the Mr. Miyagi and the Raven Child. Let's see how this one goes. Is Mr. Miyagi going to be able to keep up with the alpha damage? Yes! Yes, it is. That is a convincing victory there. And Mr. Miyagi does not care for showiness. It's a gentle sort of calm destruction. And now it is Mr. Ken Mini Freight 2 versus the Mr. Ken Interceptor 2. I fancy it's probably going to go in the Interceptor's favor, but I could be wrong. The Mini Freight is launching drones, it seems. That's its weapon of choice, but I really don't think it's going to be able to stand up against the Interceptor, honestly. I think it is the wrong type of vessel for that. It has a very specific purpose, it seems, and that is the collection of resources. Putting it in this fight, I was hoping it would be up against one of the other novelty or utility fighters, but unfortunately it's not only fighting one of its own kind, it is fighting one of its own kind designed for doing damage. Though that said, the Mini Freight is actually doing okay for points. I'm actually surprised that it's doing as well as it is, honestly. And that is largely down to its drones, I imagine. But it looks like it might be going out. No. It's also got its cockpit right at the front. Very exposed. But it's, you know, that said, it's doing okay. So it's not that bad of a design, I suppose. But I fancy if the Mr. Ken... Yeah, there we go. If the Mr. Ken could just overshoot, but not too fast, it would be able to turn its turrets back and attack the nose of the ship. And straight away, lost its missiles, lost its drones at the front. It's probably going to... could even be a faster victory for the Interceptor this time. But I think it's fairly certain it's going to be an Interceptor victory. There we go. So the Interceptor 2 moves forward. Right, let's see who's up next. It is the Attilla versus the Interceptor Mark II from Jameson. Let's see how this one goes. Jameson's ship is significantly larger. The Attilla does have a fair bit of firepower, though, if it can just bring it to bear. It's got a very good long-range firepower. But you're going to need to have a lot more speed. The Interceptor Mark II matching the Attilla in speed. I think the Attilla is probably going to go down. The Attila is getting worn down. Yep, a fairly convincing victory there from the Interceptor Mark II. Well done, Jameson. Let's see how the Attila does this time. Nope, you're missing your Alpha Strike opportunities there. But you are dodging a little bit better this time around. Well done. I'm not sure it's going to be enough to hold it, but you're doing a good job this time. Well done, Attila. Let's see how this goes. You're dodging a lot of the points. On points, you're winning. That's right. If you can take out some of the thrusters, you'll probably be in a position to win this. You're dodging fantastically well. That Alpha Strike, if the Interceptor puts enough distance between the Attila and itself, then the Attila will charge up its main burst laser and will do a huge amount of damage the next time the Interceptor moves into range. And that is honestly probably the most dangerous point for any of the crafts facing against a burst laser. But of course, the Interceptor Mark II wins. Not too much of a surprise there. Now we're going to find out who the Interceptor Mark II is going to be facing against. Is it going to be the Miner or the NISS Talon Heavy Fighter? It looks like it might be the Miner. Wow, I was actually expecting with a name like the NISS Talon Heavy Fighter that it would actually dominate the Miner. But again, I'm not sure which is the point leader here, which is the heavier craft. I fancy it's the Miner, so it's not too surprising that it's winning here. Though, that said, it's actually lower on points. The Heavy Fighter is launching its missiles, and some of them are getting through. In fact, quite a lot of them are getting through. Well done. But the Miner's armor is doing a pretty good job of keeping its resource collectors, I fancy, safe. I can only assume those are the resource collectors. And there we go. Huge amounts of firepower, and the Miner wins the round. Not too much of a surprise there, honestly. Let's see how it goes the second time, though. Some early good hits from its missiles. Ooh, that was a potentially good attack there. But at the very last moment, you got taken out. But so much thrust now on just a tiny little craft. The Miner is going to find it very hard to close the distance, I fancy. And a missile launch. Okay, I mean, if you could manage to get enough of those missiles to hit the sides of that neck, you'd be able to take out some of the weapons. You've already taken out a chunk of them, actually. Well done. It's currently trying to repair. It's lost a autocannon and a point defense gun. Well, if you can manage to get a couple more missile hits, you may be able to keep that from respawning. I'm not sure you're going to be able to now, though. You've still got a decent amount of maneuverability, and if you can just keep that reverse momentum going, and your main guns facing the enemy, you may actually win this on points. You've got to survive for 30 seconds. Or kill the enemy in 30 seconds. No, you allowed him to get too close. Drat. Well, again, you're still comfortably in the lead. So as long as you can avoid getting too close like that, you may survive. You've only got to survive for 15 more seconds. Launching a couple of missile strikes, just keeping the points coming in. Oh, the miner won just at the last second there. That is unfortunate for the Talon Heavy Fighter. Now it's the snow drone versus the mouse. Let's see who of you will win. And this is probably the only one that has a shield. Actually, I don't think. I think maybe one of the others had a shield. But Waffenhorse's mouse is probably the heaviest defended of these combatants. Let's see how this one goes. Tigris is not having much luck getting any damage to the mouse because of the shield, and the mouse also has the burst lasers. I fancy the mouse may be in it with a good chance of winning this, though the snow drone has a lot of armor, and that can't be underestimated how much of a difference that's going to make. Still, oh, you've lost your shield. This is bad times for the mouse. No, it's back up. There we are. Okay, it didn't take long for that to be regenerated. Interestingly, it doesn't have any extra energy generation for that shield. So I doubt it was operating at full capacity there, but I'm not too surprised that once the shield was gone, that the snow drone managed to just move in for the kill there. Let's see how it does again. Oh, an early victory this time. The snow drone moves forward, and I'm not too surprised by that one. Okay, it is the Mr. Miyagi versus the Interceptor 2. I'm interested in this fight because I'm fairly certain there's a big point difference, but the Mr. Miyagi can hit far outside of its weight range. Those two burst lasers are incredibly damaging. If it can just focus its attack power once or twice more, it'll probably take out the cockpit. There we go. The Mr. Miyagi moves forward. Two burst lasers for the win, it seems. And let's see how it does it again. That initial Alpha Strike has taken out some of the weapons, but not as good of an Alpha Strike as it had last round. Is it going to suffer because of that? No, apparently not. It is going to convincingly win and move forward. Now we've got the Miner versus the Interceptor Mark II. Let's see how this one does. The Interceptor Mark II did quite well against my ship, so I wouldn't be too surprised. Was it one of my ships? I think it was. But the Miner can't really close the distance. The Interceptor will, at this point, win on points alone. And every time the Miner tries to get in, the Interceptor can easily reposition itself. The Interceptor has fantastic maneuverability. It is dodging with ease. It is dodging, practically taunting the Miner at this point. It is not so much an art form as it is cruel torture. You are insulting the Miner's heavy-set ways, but the Miner actually did get a decent shot there. 20 points, not too bad, but I really doubt the Miner's going to be able to close this. The Interceptor is just too easily avoiding all of that. It's basically playing with its food at this point. It isn't going for a victory, it is just trying to stop the Miner from winning. And sometimes that's the most infuriating thing an opponent can do, especially in chess. I speak from experience. There we go. And as long as it can just reposition itself, it's got so much ability to turn that it doesn't need reverse thrusters. It can just turn and immediately be gone from that position. The Miner is getting a couple of hits in. If the Miner were able to take out some of the Interceptor Mark II's thrusters, I fancy this would actually go in the Miner's favor. But right now, unless it can get a good shot whilst the Interceptor is turning around to relocate, then the Miner will never be able to take out the Interceptor's main thrusters. And as a result, it will not win. There we go. I've got to say, I love the design of the Interceptor. It actually looks like a fighter. And it moves like one as well, which is impressive. But no, I don't think the Miner's going to do any better this time around. The Interceptor is just going to pelt it with shots from a distance and enjoy the free points. Well, that said, no, it's the Interceptor is allowing the Miner to close at this point. It's not that the Miner has found the golden angle at which to approach. It is the Interceptor just being too lazy to turn around. But there we are. The Miner has lost all of its reverse thrust, at this point, I fancy the Interceptor is just going to continue tearing the front of the miner apart. Might actually even win by taking the miner out entirely. Though, that said, that was a pretty good engagement there. The miner got a good couple of hits. Those flat cannons really can't be underestimated. Let's see. The Interceptor doesn't appear to have lost any functional components, though. It's just dancing around at this point. I don't think we're going to see any major plays from the miner at this point. It's lost all of its weapons. It's losing its thrusters. The Interceptor is moving in for the kill. It doesn't care anymore. Oh, no. It's decided to go back to playing with its food. No, it's changed its mind. It's moving in. Until those thrusters are gone, though, the miner still might get away. No, oh, the Interceptor has decided, no. I am going to prove to you how little of a threat you are by allowing you to live. No, I've changed my mind. And moved in. That, like I said, playing with his food. There's no doubt in my mind that that's exactly what I was doing. Now we're going to see the Metal Ham against the Snow Drone. Now, interestingly, I imagine the Disco Blast Pulses will be a little bit better against a larger opponent like this than it was against a fighter. But that said, the Snow Drone has far too much firepower. The Blast Pulses didn't really stand a chance at all. And again, the Blast Pulses don't seem to use themselves as point defense, which is something I assumed they would. So as a result, these missiles are just utterly destroying the Metal Ham. And it's probably going to end there, yeah. Snow Drone moves forward. Now, let's see who's next. It is the Locust versus the Mr. Miyagi. The Locust has had 2 buys. And it moved straight forward to this point. Let's see how it does against an opponent that has actually fought its way to these semi-finals. Predictably, the Mr. Miyagi is just taking the Locust apart. But if the Mr. Miyagi allows it to get too close, it might actually have a surprise loss. No. Mr. Miyagi moves forward. And the Locust moves in once again. No. Not as good of an alpha strike this time for the Mr. Miyagi. Again, the second attack always seems to do a little bit worse. And the Locust still has most of its weapons. But the Mr. Miyagi is very agile and is easily dodging these attacks at this point. I cannot see a future in which the Locust will win this match. But good effort all the same. The Mr. Miyagi goes forward to the finals. Now it's going to be between the Snow Drone and the Interceptor Mark II to see who the Mr. Miyagi will face off against. 2 fairly high point, I believe, vessels. So we'll have to see how this goes. But still, the Mr. Miyagi has been hitting far outside its weight range. But those missiles are a little bit of a concern. Both vessels, I believe, have missiles, though I could be wrong about that. No, actually, the Interceptor Mark II is purely Dakar. Now, it's going to be hard to see how you're going to win against the Snow Drone, given the Snow Drone has got much better range firepower. You're playing with your food that you did with the miner is just not going to work against the Snow Drone. Half the time I'm calling it the Slow Drone, the other half the Snow Drone, which is a bit unfair because the Snow Drone has quite a lot of speed on it. I do apologize. You're even colored the right way for a Snow Drone. But that's it. I think the Snow Drone has clearly shown itself to be more than a match for the Interceptor's agility. The Interceptor might be able to hang in to the very end of this fight, but it's not really going to stand a chance of taking out the Snow Drone, I don't think. And with those differences in points, I can't imagine that the Interceptor is going to be able to pull this back either. No. The missiles are just going to continue to hammer against the Interceptor until the end of this match, I should imagine. It's unfortunate that we aren't going to see them really getting close and actually take each other out, but still, it's interesting to see how a ship that had done so well against so many other vessels pretty much just there are hard counters in this game, basically, and the Snow Drone is hard countering the Interceptor, which is built for a very specific type of combat, and that is to be able to hold its enemy at a long range and just pepper it with shots. However, the Snow Drone is equally capable in long-range combat, so that is just not going to help. In fact, I would say that the Snow Drone is better in long-range combat. The Snow Drone is already 177 points versus the Interceptor Mark II's 91 points. I can't see this changing. The Snow Drone has a fair chunk of close combat potential as well. So even if the Interceptor were to charge in and just rely on its Dakka, I fancy the Snow Drone would actually be able to bring more Dakka to the fight anyway. So it's probably going to be down to the Mr. Miyagi and the Snow Drone for the final. But it's rude of me to decide who's going to win before the fight is officially over. But yes, I think it's fair to say the Interceptor is not going to be able to pull this one back. Even in points, the Snow Drone is dominating at this point. Far better than it was even in the last round. Though, it looks like the Snow Drone may actually go for a kill here. A bit of a flourish right at the end. Come on, Snow Drone. Oh, the Interceptor, to be a fair sport, is dancing back and forth. Still trying to get in there. Well done, though. Snow Drone moves forward. So, the final. The Mr. Miyagi versus the Snow Drone. Avak versus Tigris. This is going to be an interesting one. The Mr. Miyagi, I fancy, is a much smaller vessel overall and has already lost an enormous amount of its firepower. In fact, all of its firepower and quite a lot of its maneuverability. Looks like the Snow Drone may actually be going for a win in this tournament. Well done. First win goes to the Snow Drone. Let's see if this goes any differently this time. Ooh, no alpha damage. That is a big loss for the Mr. Miyagi. It needs those early hits on the weapon systems to stand a chance. You are being hunted by those missiles. Well done on dodging them, though. Very well done. You've done a little bit of damage to the Snow Drone's armor, but you've taken a bit of damage as well. Fantastic dodging, but there we are. Only one needed to get through, and it's probably the end for the Mr. Miyagi now. Very well fought there. Gave it its all in the last round, but the Snow Drone has emerged the uncontested victor of this tournament. Congratulations, Tigris. Commiserations, everyone, including myself. But that is the end of this episode. I hope you've enjoyed the tournament, and I hope to see you in the next episode. But until then, and as always, do take care.